Welcome to episode 1. Yes. He is Lais, and I am the coach, and that is the name of our show.
Everything stems from our identity.
You can still take a chance and take a risk, right?
What is the level of intention and attention that you were putting forth?
To us, success is being able to live life on our terms.
You're either going to take care of your health by choice or by obligation. So make it a choice now.
But it's about the experience.
If you're part of the living, you're going to have life.
What if it is better than you even thought?
We all have that limitless potential.
The fear that steps into most people paralyzes them.
I don't think anyone's ever said any of the shit you just said, which is amazing.
There's a lot of parts of you that you should let go of.
You have time for all of that. You have time for this too.
Guys, we are back.
We're back, bitches!
Welcome, everybody, to Lais and the Coach. Welcome, everybody, to Lais and the Coach. And boy, do we have a special guest today. Samantha is a licensed esthetician and student of functional medicine, but she doesn't know that this is a very important episode because we have covered Lais's journey with all of that in depth and compared it to our coaching style in a couple of different episodes, including one where she had to come to terms with the fact that she just wasn't following instructions. So, Samantha, welcome to the show. I hope you survive because it's going to be one of those.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So let me just give you some context to what I said. So when was it right before you got pregnant or after that you were?
Before. So I had been on birth control for 10 years and I decided to get off of it to eventually try and get pregnant. So he had said, obviously he's got a ton of knowledge and he's like, you want to get off, you want to give your body a second. You don't want to get off birth control, try to get pregnant. So I got off birth control and that's where you were headed.
With your acne.
My skin, yeah. My skin just exploded. I was on birth control from when I was 15 to when I was 25. And so it was like chicken pox, it looked like to me. It was traumatizing. It was the worst. Anyway.
But fast forward, she worked on it, she did all the things and she finally landed in a place where it was good. And she was working with somebody and they were giving her instructions that she just wasn't following. Okay. Very similar to when we work with somebody and I give them a plan and they're like, it's not working. I'm like, but you're not doing it.
Not doing everything.
Right.
And we kind of ended up there. We did a whole episode about that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How did you end up doing what you do now and how did you piece together functional medicine and that esthetician side?
Yeah, we actually have a similar story because I went off birth control to have a family and dealt with adult acne. And I was an esthetician, so I was working for a spa and I was doing all the right treatments to clear my acne and I was using acne products and nothing I was doing was clearing my skin. And I remember thinking, how can I treat acne clients if I can't even treat my own skin? And then obviously I got pregnant and my skin was clear. So I was very lucky that way. And then after my third was born, I had a lot of baby weight to lose. And then my acne came back pretty bad. So that's when I started doing some gut detoxes. And, it was one of those, I did a 14-day gut cleanse because I'm like, I need to lose the baby weight. And my skin accidentally cleared up. So it was, since then I was like testing it out with clients and, it kind of became like what I was known for, like the inside out approach. And then last year? I was doing some research, stumbled across functional medicine and was like, the light bulb went off. I was like, this is it. I can test for imbalances in the gut and help my clients on the outside. So that's how I became a functional medicine doctor. And now I have an inside out approach.
I love that because I remember my first instinct was to do everything I could topically, right? So it was like, okay, like, let me research this. And it's like, they say that, like, my skin was oily, so I'm like, I want to remove the oil. And stripping the oil is bad, I'm assuming, based on my research, but you would know better than me. And then it was like, well, you need to add oil. So I added all these, like, peppermint, and my face was going to, like, burn off. And then it's like, okay, that's not the answer. You try all these different cleansers and all these different things and all these different topical treatments. You go to the doctor, the first thing they want to do is give you Accutane.
Yep.
Which honestly, I was so desperate, I was going to do it, but he was like, absolutely not.
Good.
Yeah, I know. And even my mom was like, I took that. Like, you'll be fine. And I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, so you start to do that. And then he's like, it's checked my hormones and there was nothing wrong with my hormones. There's never been anything wrong with my hormones. And I actually battled with it for a good like 5 years. It wasn't like, it was like get off birth control, get pregnant, breastfeed. Like to me, I was like, all of these hormonal fluctuations are not letting it go away. But he knew from the start that it wasn't hormonal, that it was gut related. And so then we started having all of these different issues and food changes, and I would bloat with certain things. And then it was the same thing as you said, the moment that I don't want to say just cleaned up my food, because I think that's like it's too big of an umbrella, because I eat everything, right? Like we go out to eat plenty. I like desserts. I like my wine. I love like a balanced approach. Just because I am a foodie and I do enjoy it, and I do think that it's more sustainable that way. I enjoy eating that way.
Right.
There are things that are going to sit bad for me no matter what, but most things, for the most part, as long as I'm not doing all the time, like every single day, I'm okay with it. But I hear what you're saying, and it took me so long to get there, even though he knew, but I'm a little bit stubborn. It was gut all along. It was never hormones. I guess I thought it was hormones because I got off birth control, so I linked it to that. Like, it's got to be this, right? But it was gut related 100%.
So before we move forward, I think that a lot of times the word gut gets thrown out, right? And I don't really think people know what that means, number one. And so from your perspective, can you talk a little bit about that? And then number two, I also don't think that people understand how much of your skin, like what your skin reveals, has so much to do with what's going on inside.
Yep.
And I think people always try to fix it with a potion or a lotion or a, and they never stop to, I guess, pay attention to their habits. So can we talk a little bit about what gut means?
Yeah.
And then a little bit about maybe like how the skin expresses what's going on internally?
Yeah. So in a nutshell, like our gut basically is our digestive system. And I feel like the biggest thing I've noticed with the gut is we're not digesting our food properly. Like our gut really isn't supposed to be digesting food. It's supposed to get digested in the stomach and pancreas and then filter down into the gut, where the gut absorbs like the water and the nutrients and spreads it throughout the body. A lot of times we're not digesting our food properly. It gets stuck in the gut, and then it causes inflammation, which is your gas, your bloating, your constipation, your diarrhea. Any of those symptoms that we're like, oh yeah, I just have gas, no big deal. And then I feel like our skin and our gut have similar microbiomes. So if the gut has permeability, or if leaky gut, or if there's a lot of inflammation going on. And then again, to your point, like you were saying, you thought it was a hormonal issue when you were dealing with acne. And it can be because the gut, if you're not going to the bathroom every day, hormones end up sitting in there, and we recycle estrogens. So gut and hormones do kind of connect together as well. So,
Now,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, continue.
I was going to say, and then as far as the skin goes, like any inflammation, it's going to come out through the skin, because our skin is a detox organ. And that's the problem I see with, even estheticians, the way we're trained. We are taught to treat the skin. And I call it attacking the skin, because you have a problem like acne and you buy out every single acne product out there. You're like, oh, I'm going to put this on there and that on there. It's like, oh, now it's too dry, so I'm going to add oil. Now I have this, so now I'm going to do this. And it's like, I call it attacking the skin, because you just throw a bunch of stuff at it and you don't get any results. And then you go to the dermatologist and they're like, here, take an antibiotic, because that's going to mess up your gut even more. And at first you may notice some clearing, but because the gut is out of balance from the antibiotics now, it's going to trigger more breakouts and it's going to get worse. So it's like a hamster wheel. It's like
vicious cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the things that I heard a long time ago, and I guess it stuck with me, and for lack of a better word, I didn't let it go, is that if you're not willing to put it in your mouth, you shouldn't put it on your skin.
Right.
How toxic are a lot of the products that people are putting on their face and their skin without even realizing it?
Yeah, I mean, our FDA, I could do a whole episode on that. Our FDA has so many loopholes. So even the ingredients that they say are good, there's a lot of toxins in them. Even if you're not doing it via skincare, there's so many pollutants in our environment and in our air. You know, the water we drink has pollutants in it. So I feel like we're kind of being bombarded. And even skincare products can mimic estrogen. So then it creates like estrogen dominance in people.
Wow, that's so interesting. It's so true. Like everything is so different than what it used to be. Like
Right.
the air, the water, the food, right? Like there are a lot of loopholes in the way that they label food too.
Yeah.
We are very aware of that. The same way you could do a whole
Yes.
episode on that, so could we.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like we don't think twice about it because it's our everyday. And even when you buy organic and even when you do, you know, all the right things and you don't drink out of plastic, like there's just no way around it. So
Right.
what do you think is a good way to, because there's really no way to avoid it altogether, and it's very effortful for us to even make a real dent inside of all of these toxins and all of these things that are coming our way. What do you think is one, you know, a few things that maybe people can do to like combat it, right? In terms of the food, in terms of the water, like what are some tips I guess you can give people so that they can pay attention or tweaks they can make that would be helpful?
Yeah. I mean, you always want to buy organic, but even that has loopholes. So it's like, I mean, basically, if you want to live in a bubble, then you can protect yourself. But I would say, you know, try to find like meat and dairy from a farmer if you can. Try to buy, you know, I live in Chicago, so our crops are kind of limited for the season. But if you live in an area where you have farmers, I would try to buy from them versus everything in the grocery store. Try to eat seasonally. Get water filters for your house so that way you can at least filter your water out, you know, and just always keep a water bottle that's not plastic, you know, that you can continue to refill and keep with you. Those are just some things, you know, little tweaks. Even laundry detergent, you know, I switched to baking soda and vinegar to wash all my clothes because there's so many toxins even in our laundry detergent. So
Yeah.
Well, that was one area that you tried, right? How many different detergents did
So
you?
because I also had like body acne, right? Like
Okay.
it's never just on your face. Like then you have my whole back,
Right.
some of my chest, and I was like, you start to think like, what could it be? But then you also think, man, like I've never really been this sensitive. What the hell is my problem? I can't even use like laundry detergent. So we tried a lot of those also. They didn't make a difference in terms of me seeing anything different, you know, but you do start to go down every rabbit hole. And then I agree with you. It does start to feel like unless I literally live in a bubble, like I'm screwed, you know? So it's like, what tweaks can I make? Like, how can I pay attention to my body and to how it responds and make certain tweaks? There were things that were like a huge no for me in terms of eating that now if I eat twice a week, like nothing happens to me,
Okay.
right? But before eating it once would put me out for a while,
Right.
or it would break me out like almost immediately, like the very next day.
Right.
You know, so there are things that are obvious, but unless you're going to live in a bubble, you do have to kind of mitigate, like you said, and see what tweaks you can make, and you've got to live with the rest.
Right.
Well, I guess that's a question that I have in order, like if somebody's watching, they're listening, and they wanted to really walk away with something tangible. I think that we don't get enough education on how to take care of ourselves
Yeah.
overall,
In general.
right?
Right.
So, but specifically with like your skin, what's I guess something that someone can do to really hone in on the basics, right? Like in terms of washing their skin or what they should put on, what they shouldn't put on. And I know that people have different skins and different environments, but I feel like overall, like if you really ask most adults, I question whether or not they know how to shower too. I don't think that we have enough instruction on how to do
Right.
day-to-day
Gotta be a
things,
human.
right? So what if we could cover some of the basics on skin maintenance or, you know, how to really take care of your skin? What would some of the basics look like from your perspective?
I'm a very simple person, and even my clients know I don't throw a lot of products at them. One of the product lines I do carry, and I really like it, they follow the European guidelines because Europe bans like 2,500 ingredients. So I would actually look for an esthetician or some skincare products that are from Europe and follow the European guidelines because their products are a lot cleaner. As far as like taking care of the skin, a good cleanser, not something over the counter, because I feel like it's like the food industry. It's like they hide stuff, especially if you see the word fragrance. Some of the preservatives, like they hide ingredients in that. So that's where you really have to watch. And it's in almost every over-the-counter product because they have to mass produce it. So I would say like a gentle cleanser, morning and night. You know, an exfoliant one to 2 times a week, depending on the type of skin you have, and then a good moisturizer.
How hard is that? Like is it like abrasive? Like you got a stain on your dish, or is it like?
Why do I feel like this episode is going to be full of jabs to me?
No, I swear it isn't. I swear it isn't.
I don't like scrubs at all. I think they're actually really bad because most people do dig in and it breaks down the skin barrier. So I like to use a gommage or an enzyme, which naturally, it's like, think of like the leaves on the sidewalk in the fall. Your enzyme and your gommage, it's like a brush. It just brushes the leaves away. So it does the work for you.
What's this? Okay, before I have a lot of questions because it's my thing, but. Back to I agree with you on the European brands. There are a lot of other countries that do so much better with food, with products, right? With pretty much everywhere else is better in terms of that stuff because of the amount of loopholes here. Mm-hmm. But what is this European brand you speak of?
It's Nelly DeVoost.
I'm sorry?
Nelly DeVoost.
Okay. Yeah. And then how do you feel, because I know this is like it's not just me, it's a bunch of people. I made my own thing on this, but how do you feel about Korean skincare, specifically for those of us who are in the US and who are not Korean?
I feel like Korean skincare is better too, because they follow the same guidelines as the EU.
Right. That's what I thought too. It's funny because I went on this whole like Korean skincare craze like everybody else, but not just buying the TikTok products, like just really doing my research. But then I was like, some of this stuff really doesn't work for me. And I had this realization where I'm like, well, I'm not Korean. I don't have Korean skin. I don't live in Korea. I don't eat like the Koreans, right? So then I'm like, maybe this isn't good for everybody. But I do think that it has a lot of really good products because of the ingredients, more so than how efficient it is for a specific skin type. So I agree with that.
What do most people get wrong about skincare?
That they overdo it. Like, we don't need 10 steps.
I do. I'm kidding. I want all the steps.
Because our skin's an organ. So just like our gut, it's like if you give your gut what it needs, it's going to fix itself. If you give your skin what it needs, it's going to naturally fix itself. It's like if you stop attacking it with all these products and ingredients, it's going to start to calm down.
I always say that there's parallels, right? Because when you're trying to get in shape, you're trying to transform, it's like, it takes time. Yeah. You got to eat your food, you got to drink your water, you got to rest, you got to work out, and then let the steps take care of that. And then most of the time people are like, what else can I do? What else can I take? They want to do all these other things. And I've lived through somebody doing that with their skin, which is why we made an episode about it, because if she could live in the bathroom all day doing things, it would. And then I started to think, I'm like, I don't think that you're trying to fix your skin. I think that you enjoy the process of putting stuff on and seeing what's going to happen more than the actual skin fixing, because I don't think it should be that complicated, but
Well, nothing is that complicated, to your point, right? Like a lot of times when people come to us to transform the way that they look and feel, whether they want to, change the numbers on their blood work or whether they want to lose 10 or 20 pounds, you are in a desperate place, meaning like you want to see it happen, not desperately like you're going to die over it, but more like, all right, like if you seek you sought someone out, you're in a place that you don't want to be in, so that means you want to get out of it, right? And then so the same thing happens with everything. And I think that with skin, when you're having an issue with it, you just want it gone. You just want it over with. And it always feels like it's going to take a lot of steps, a lot of effort, like a physical transformation. How much cardio do I need to do? How much little do I need to eat? Because you want to do it all. And it's like, that's not actually how it works. So
I think to what you just said, when somebody seeks you out, like what should they expect that process to look like? And I know everybody wants a timeline, so.
I know. And I always say, when I put, give new clients products, I'm like, you need to give it at least 4 to 6 weeks, because it takes 4 to 6 weeks for our skin to turn over. So you need to give it at least one full cell cycle before you see results. And that's the problem. Most people buy products, they break out right away because the skin's like, oh, there's something new. I have to readjust because like the pH of that product might be different. The ingredients might be different. It might just be kind of altering the way the skin functions. So the skin has to go through an adjustment period, and that can take about 4 to 6 weeks, and it can break out. It can purge all the stuff that's, it's like with our gut too. You go through a detox, and it's like sometimes you feel really sick because your gut's just trying to get rid of all the junk. Our skin does the same thing. So it's like if you're switching product too often, you're never going to see the full benefit because you're not giving it enough time for your skin to adjust and actually repair itself.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
funny that you say 4 to 6 weeks. Most of our clients are women, and I always say like I need at least 3 menstrual cycles to get an idea of what's going on, because I need a control. Like I need to see what this one looks like, and then I need to see what the next one looks like in relation to what we're doing,
Right.
and then I need that third one to kind of say, this really happened or did it not? Because if not, we're kind of just throwing stuff at the wall, and it should be an umbrella thing, but it's not. Another question that I have is stress related. Like how much of a role does stress play on what your skin looks like and how it reacts?
It has everything to do with it. From breakouts to dullness to puffiness. I mean, yeah, even wrinkles and fine lines are caused from stress.
And is there a way, I guess, since the skin turns over, is there a way to mitigate that or not? Like it's just going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is de-stress techniques like deep breathing. You want to still take care of your skin, but it's like you can't just put stuff on your skin and be like, why is it not going away? It's like you really have to reset your nervous system, because your nervous system actually goes throughout the entire skin. Every single skin cell has nerves in it, so it's like if your nervous system is out of whack, your skin's going to respond.
That makes sense. I'm sure people don't think about that.
Right.
For sure. How different is your approach combining functional medicine with, practicing being an esthetician, and just maybe an esthetician that isn't getting involved on that other side?
Yeah, so I can do gut testing. So if a client comes in with acne, I usually work on their skin, have them readjust their skincare, and then set up a time to get some gut testing done, because the gut's where the answers are. And it's like, that process takes a little bit longer, but I feel like most estheticians, they just are like, oh, let's do chemical peels and acne treatments and all this stuff, and then they send them home with all these acne products. And it's like, sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't work, that's when it's like you have to look deeper. So just by doing those functional tests, getting those answers, it's like we can really kind of dig right in and be like, all right, right here, and here is your problem. So let's address this. And then your skin's just going to start to naturally clear up. And again, like what you were saying, it can take 90 days, 6 months. It depends on the severity of the gut problems.
Is there like a trend, meaning like, are there certain things you see in the gut pretty often or more often than others? Or is it like all over the place? Like really depends.
It really depends. I mean, it could be parasites. It could actually be too much of a good bacteria versus like not, too much bad. There's leaky gut, there's food sensitivities. There's a lot involved with it.
Now, you're in Chicago, we're in Florida. How much does the weather influence that kind of response, or how your skin is responding to like the environment? Because because we live in this climate, every time we go up north, she gets super excited. She's like, I can't wait to be in the cold.
My skin is so good.
Yeah.
My skin is so much better out there.
See, and we prefer the humidity here. In the winter, like everybody's skin is like alligator skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I readjust my clients' skincare from season to season because we go from hot and humid to cold and dry.
So you have to. So in that case, it's pretty much just the topical. It has nothing to do with the internal, right? Because you're just battling the weather, which is external.
Yeah.
And then earlier you'd mentioned like attacking the skin. Like, what does that mean?
Overdoing products, like using too many exfoliants or using like a retinol, an acid, using harsh cleansers, anything. Basically what attacking means is you're breaking down your skin barrier. So it's causing the skin to be compromised, and then, stuff can leak out. Your skin can become dehydrated, which can lead to skin sensitivity. So
And when you say that, is it like the face specifically or all of it?
The face is the most sensitive. Like the skin on the body is a little bit thicker, so I'm mostly referring to the face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
I was going to ask about makeup next. So,
Go ahead.
So what about makeup? I know, again, as a skin obsessed person, I won't ever go to bed.
Is that a clinical term, skin obsessed person?
Yes.
I am a skin obsessed person. I've always been, though. I told him the story. I'm like, I know that I had all these acne issues, but ever since I was like a little girl, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, maybe, I would sneak into like my grandma's room, my mom's room, and I would take their caviar creams and I would put it all over my face. Like, I don't know what my obsession is. But what I was going to say is, obviously, for me, for someone like me, never sleeping with makeup on is a thing. Like, it doesn't matter how much I could be dying of being tired or being out, I am going to wash my face.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my steps, right? But I think a lot of people don't do that. I think a lot of people will go to bed with their makeup on. How bad or not is that for their skin?
It's actually really bad because our skin repairs when we sleep. So it's like we need to wash our face to get all the dirt, oil, makeup, environmental toxins, like all that pollution, everything just sits there on the skin, and the skin can't fully detoxify when you sleep if it's clogged up and, kind of, and dirty.
Right.
So.
And then as far as makeup goes, obviously different skin types require different things. Yeah. And some makeups, like we all have experience, are better on our skin than others, whether it's because it breaks you out or not, or whether it's because it makes you oily or dry. But what is something that people can look for as a general rule? Again, I know everyone's skin is different in terms of makeup, right? Like meaning what's something you want to make sure is not in your makeup or you want to make sure is in your makeup? And then how often should we be using it? Like, are we better off using a BB cream versus a foundation for everyday use and leaving the foundation for that event or that outing or something like that?
Yeah, I would definitely save the foundation. Not you wear it every day, because it really is, it's heavy, it's occlusive. And what that means is it's like putting saran wrap on your skin. It like traps everything in and your pores can't breathe and detox properly. So you are better off with like a BB cream or like a tinted sunscreen, something that gives you that, like, evens out your skin tone and gives you that coverage but doesn't
clog,
hide everything. Yeah.
And then as far as like an ingredient you want to stay away from, is there one or two in terms of foundation or makeup in general?
I'm not super well versed in makeup. I do know a lot of them have dyes in them, so that's something to look out for too.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
What if somebody's like overwhelmed? They're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like they go to Walgreens or whatever it is they buy their stuff, and there's a 17 different face cleansers.
Walgreens. Do not buy anything at Walgreens.
Yeah, right.
He clearly doesn't buy
exactly.
makeup.
That's where I would go, right? But anyway, so what's like the first step for someone?
I would have them get just a cream or oil cleanser and a moisturizer to start. Like that would be, the bare bones basic. Because you want to wash your face
and are they
in the
washing
morning and at night. Twice a day.
That's what I was going to say. Are they washing once a day, twice a day?
Twice a day.
And then is it different for men and women in terms of no, it's not.
No.
I can't tell you the last time I washed my face.
Yeah, I tell
That
him
sounds
all the
about right.
time. I'm dying to get him a whole kit. We need eye cream and cleanser and toner. Okay, let's talk about SPF because it's everyone raves about it. You need it. Obviously, we're in Florida, so even more so. We walk outside. But even if not, even from the basic standpoint of the screens, right? Like screens are light and just being in your car or your everyday stuff. Is SPF that much of a must?
That's a yes and no. If you're going to be outside for extended periods of time, the problem is the chemical sunscreens are really bad. And those are, it's not proven, but studies are starting to lean towards the fact that chemical sunscreens can possibly cause skin cancer. So a physical block like your zinc oxide or your titanium dioxide are okay. But I would not overdo it with the sunscreen because we need that natural production, because if we're wearing too much sunscreen, then we're actually blocking our body from getting vitamin D.
And what about in relation to What?
He was kneeing me under the table, just so you guys know.
You don't put it in your mouth, you put it on your skin.
Yeah, but you don't put chemical peels and Botox in your mouth. You have to
That's
put it
true.
on your skin.
Yeah.
In relation to younger skin, like kids, because most of our clients are moms,
Right.
and they like hose down their kids with like
Oh, that makes me cringe, the spray. It makes me cringe.
Oh my God.
So-
See, we're doing it all wrong. I've been told that the sunscreen is so important for us. Like,
Right.
don't leave your house. When you wake up, it has to be a part of your skincare routine. And he always says, like, not only the vitamin part, but it's like mostly for the sunspots, right? I don't want sunspots. Like, you don't want sunspots when you're putting all these chemicals in your skin. And to me, it's like, well, I'm already putting the cleanser and the lotion, what's it called? Yeah, the lotion, the moisturizer, and I'm already putting some makeup on. So then it's like, might as well. But then it does always feel like the sunscreen's like a toxic thing.
Right.
And for my kids, like they don't put it on unless they're at the pool or at the beach, you know? But for me, for a while there, it's like, nope, don't leave the house without sunscreen. But like, I hate that. Like, I struggle with the sunscreen on my face all day because I do feel like I'm putting too much stuff on it. It's even the light ones, even the good ones, they're just heavy.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not wrong. You're not wrong.
I mean, I feel like more research needs to come out, so I don't want to be like, no, don't ever wear it again. But actually, I have melasma, and I've been dealing with it since my early 40s. And melasma is like, it's triggered by heat. And I've been watching a couple doctors on Instagram, and one of them was like dead set, if you have melasma, never put sunscreen on. And I always wore sunscreen because I'm like, I don't want my skin to darken. And this past summer, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm like, what do I have to lose? And my skin cleared up. So now I'm like a little bit on the fence with sunscreen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess to that point, right? It's almost, I feel like everything is situational.
Right.
And there are other factors involved, right? If you're doing a really shitty job at eating, and then you're worried about what you're putting on your face and saying, I did this and that, like, how do you know? Like, you'd have to do everything the right way for an extended period of time. And then I think eliminate one thing at a time or pull one lever at a time to see if that's the right lever. And even then, the seasons changing could alter the approach, right? Or am I off on that? Is it?
Yeah.
It
I
is
feel like we get bombarded with information, and I feel like that's what stops a lot of people from even taking action, is because they don't even know where to start, because they're just like, oh, I have to do this, and this, and then they're like, well, if I do it all, then what?
And the problem with all that information too is that not only can it be overwhelming, but also it's like, it is situational, like you're saying. So people will take one piece of information that's usually missing context, right? And it isn't a one piece of information for everybody, but even if you took it, and then you're going to ride that information out for the next 5 years. And you know how many things change? Not only the weather, but the way you eat, your stress, your hormones, like everything changes, and we don't change that with it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think back to my original point where people don't know what to do. So again, a lot of moms listen to this. What's something that they could say to their kids to kind of like start ingraining the idea of taking better care of their skin without, I mean, getting them to brush their teeth and shower sometimes is hard enough, but what's something they can do that can kind of set the foundation, or at least educate them in a way where they have a reason behind why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Even for kids, you know, that's a whole issue, because now with TikTok and social media, it's like kids are trying to do like 10 to 17 steps of skincare. And it's like they're buying products that are made for adult women, not for kids' skin that is naturally turning over and functioning correctly. So they're actually overdoing it with the skincare products, and they're going to speed up their aging process because they're causing rapid cell turnover. So for a parent listening, I actually created a skincare line for kids because my daughter was obsessed with this a few years ago. It's only a cleanser and moisturizer, because I feel like that's all they need. You just need to establish those routines for a young age, so that way they just have the basics, like, oh, wash my face, put on moisturizer. Because it's like, if you start them young, then they're going to keep that habit for life.
Mm-hmm. The same thing happened with our daughter, because she's 23, but she would always see like I'm putting all this stuff on and I'm buying this and I'm buying that. And she's like, well, what do I do? Right? Because she's a young adult. And I tell her very often, I'm like, this is not for your skin. This is for mature skin. This is for your skin. You need something light. You need something very mild. You need something for your skin. Because even though she's older, like that's still not mature skin, right? A 20-year-old skin is not the same as a 40-year-old skin. It's just not how it works. But that's cool that you created your own.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I see some parallels with, again, most of our clients are 35, 40, 45, 50. Right. And a lot of times they will say, you know, when I was younger, I could lose weight, you know, just like that. And I usually say, well, that's part of the problem. It's like you ate all this stuff and 20 years have gone by and you've been doing all these things. So your body is responding to everything that you did. I'd be willing to say that your skin's doing the same thing. If when you're a teenager, you're eating a bunch of junk and then you become a young adult and you're even eating worse, by the time you get to 30, 40, like your skin's kind of paying the price for that, no?
Correct. Yeah. Especially sorry.
No, go ahead.
With all the processed foods, a lot of it is sugar overdose, you know, because everything's got sugar or carbs in it. And that actually causes a process called glycation, which eats away at the protein in the cells. So it's like speeding up the aging process.
Is there a way for, and again, with dieting, it's always like, there's always so many things, because even dieting for your skin versus dieting for aesthetics or dieting for, you know, some sort of, you know, athletic thing are not always going to coincide. But are there things that people could be or should be looking at that they should avoid if they're very concerned with how their skin's going to turn out?
Yeah. I mean, sugar is a big one. And I know it's hard for everyone to cut it out, but I am a big proponent of not eating any sugar. Even grains, I feel like, you know, your body converts that into glucose. So if you're conscious about weight or you're trying to lose weight, I would cut out carbs and sugar altogether. Eat more protein. I'm a big protein person, so protein and fat. You know, and then your vegetables and fruits, as long as they're not like high glycemic ingredients or fruits and vegetables. So.
And what about, like, for example, we do a lot of fitness competitors, and they are going to need a lot more fuel than your average, you know, person. Is there a way that they could maybe consume a better quality ingredient, or are you still under the, like, no, I just don't think that it's just good for your skin at all?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of carbs at all. You know, that's just me. I mean, I was keto for many, many years, and I've become carnivore the last 2 years. So I feel like I've done a lot of research on it, and I feel like protein and fat are kind of where it's at for the body. I feel like when you're eating enough protein and fat, you don't even need the carbs.
Okay. And then in terms of the way that your skin responds to that food, is there a timeline that you think people should be looking at when they switch eating styles? Like, for example, if you have somebody that has a more balanced approach and they switch to eliminating an entire food group, how much time is the skin turnover still 4 to 6 weeks, or is there something else that they should be looking at for, I guess, data points or reference in terms of how their body's going to respond to that, on their skin?
I mean, I feel like with the skin, 4 to 6 weeks is good, but if you're working on adjusting your diet and healing your gut, it's going to take longer. Because gut healing, I mean, yes, your gut microbiome starts to change within a couple weeks, but it's like it can take 90 days to 6 months to really see the full effects of gut health.
The full effects, but I'm sure that you can see something, you know, in the
within
meantime.
4 to 6 weeks, for sure.
Right. Yeah, like some sort of shift in how you feel or how something is clearing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then inside of that, just anecdotally, because I have my own thought on it, how consistent does the effort need to be in what they're doing to actually see that? So, for example, what I mean is, I usually would say you're going to have to do the same thing all the time to see if it even works. The second that you throw in a variable in there, then it's going to be really hard to determine whether or not this was the thing that impacted you in the direction that we wanted. So, for example, if somebody switches their eating style but their sleep is crap, it's going to be difficult to say this is the thing that's influencing you in a negative way when you're sleeping like crap. The food might be great, but, or you're super stressed out, right? It's like, how consistent do you think they need to be before saying, all right, this worked or this didn't work?
Right. I mean, yes, sleep and stress have a big play in it, but I would think if you are starting to eliminate those inflammatory foods, you should start to see some results. You know, not the full effect. Obviously, if you're changing your sleep habits and working on that and improving your stress, yes, you're going to get better results quicker. But I feel like you can still get some results, you know, and start to feel better, because I feel like, especially with my clients, like if I can get them to start feeling better and start to be like, oh, this is working, or I feel like I'm not deprived, then they seem to keep going. It's when they feel deprived, or like if they feel like they have all these roadblocks or they're not getting the results they're looking for, I feel like that's what kind of stops people and makes them kind of go back to their old habits. So I feel like even if you can give them like a marker, like within the next 30 days, you should start to feel this or start to notice this. So that way they have an idea like, oh, this isn't going to be overnight, even though they want it overnight. You know, just give them like consistent coaching and advice, and give them information to let them know, like, you know, you have to be consistent, but it's going to take some time.
What do you say to the person that's listening or watching and they're like, wow, that's a lot of stuff, like, and they are not necessarily somebody who is prone to take care of their skin, and maybe they've dabbled into it, not necessarily, you know, extensively,
Not like me.
but it's important, right? Like,
Right.
but they're not sure how important it is. What do you say to that person to kind of get them to the other side of the equation where it's part of their regimen?
I would have them look for an esthetician or somebody, you know, even on Instagram, like follow a couple estheticians, learn from them, see what their processes are, just to kind of get more information on the skin and how to take care of your skin.
Okay.
I love that. And then do you service people just in your area? Do you do like anything on the internet? Like, how is it that you do what you do?
Most of my clients come to see me for facials, but I do have clients that have moved out of state, so I do check in with them virtually and then send them skincare products. So I can work with people everywhere.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Where can people find more information about you, like website, social media, any of those things?
So my website and social media handles are all the same. It's at SkinDeepIL.
At Skin Deep. Well, I'm going to link that in the show notes so that so those link out, and people could go follow you on social media, go on your website, get more information. I always feel like it's so important to make sure that we realize that we don't know everything, and we don't know like how to take care of ourselves to the full extent. So it's always good to seek somebody out that has a lot more expertise in that particular area. It's the only way that we're going to kind of get on the other side of whatever direction we want to go in. So Samantha, thank you so much for being on our show. It's a great topic to start the year with, because it definitely should pour some momentum in the direction that people want to go in, especially when it comes to their skin maintenance and taking care of their skin. So again, thank you for being on the show. For everybody watching, listening, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all the things that people do on podcasts. And until next time, peace out, everybody.
Bye, guys.